Today, I'm going to show you my favorite 10 GitHub repositories that I use on a daily basis building out SwiftUI apps. But before we dive into it, let me just remind you about Dev Factory. It's at rebeloper.com/mentoring. If you want to meet me on a one-on-one Zoom call, maybe you want to learn how to implement these GitHub repositories, or if you just want to chat with me about SwiftUI or learn about SwiftUI, or you have a bug in your code, go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring. So let's dive into my top 10 favorite GitHub repositories that I use mostly on a daily basis. And the first one is networking. Now, it's from FreshOS, and networking is all about, you guessed it, networking. And it makes our lives super, super easy. It's just written for URL session with async await or combine. And you can use the CODABLE. Hey, Akash. Akash says best resource for learning UIKit framework. Learning UIKit, well, you do have to, there's no such thing as a GitHub repository for that. But I highly recommend books for UIKit from Ray Vanderlich, for example, or yeah, basically that would be it. My channel was all about UIKit, but since SwiftUI is much easier to use and I would prefer learning and teaching SwiftUI, nowadays my channel is all about SwiftUI. So yeah, I highly encourage you to check out SwiftUI instead of UIKit. Okay, let's get back to networking. And basically what this does, it kind of replaces LMOfire. You're most probably aware of LMOfire, but networking is much simpler to use, easier to use. And as you can see, I already created a video tutorial. You can just click there and you will see how networking works. And it's really super simple to use. Just go ahead and scroll down and create your get post, put, patch, and delete requests. It's really great. Now, next up on my list is SF save symbols. Now, you most probably know about SF symbols. So yeah, this is kind of the hacked icon here with the save, but it kind of looks like the original icon from Apple, from SF symbols. They are all over iOS right now. You would just have to use these SF symbols with string values. So it's very typo prone, and you don't really know how to, well, you have to memorize it, or you have to open up the SF symbols application and then just copy out the string value, the name of the symbol that you maybe search for, and then paste it into your project, which is not ideal to say the least. So that's where SF save symbols comes in. And all you have to do is just install it via the Swift package manager. By the way, all of these can be added with Swift packages into your Xcode project. So what it does is just makes our life super simple. So for example, we have UI image system name circle.fill. And yeah, you don't really know, this is a string value. Of course, circle.fill is kind of okay, but what about the other stuff? And this is how it would just look like. Let's just go a little bit down. For example, it would look like this: UI image system symbol dot C circle, or E circle fill. Or let's just take a look at SwiftUI image system symbol, and then you just go dot C circle or symbol dot E circle fill. And this is really great because now we have this kind of dot syntax, and it will give us auto completion. It's super handy, saves a ton of time. You don't have to go back and forth the SF symbols catalog and just copy and paste those like string values for your SF symbols. Again, it's SF save symbols. Now, the next on my list is NUKE UI. Now, with NUKE UI, before I go into NUKE UI, let's just see. Okay, Akash. I hope I am spelling out your name correctly. I followed your all of your learning SwiftUI tutorials, and that favorite is core location using SwiftUI. Yeah, core location is really interesting because it's kind of built for UIKit with delegate methods and all of that stuff, but there's not such a thing for SwiftUI. You still have to use core location, but yeah, core location is a little bit tricky with SwiftUI. Go ahead and check out that YouTube on the channel, the video on the channel. Okay, so NUKE UI, what's it all about? Well, as you most probably know, now we have a kind of a lazily loading image in SwiftUI that is async image, but it's not ideal, so it will reload constantly, and there are other things that, for example, you cannot add in a placeholder image for it. Yeah, so with NUKE UI, with the help of NUKE, it has a submodule. It's calling NUKE, that's why it's called NUKE UI. NUKE is fetching, like data fetching, image fetching library. So NUKE UI will just make it easier to just use a lazy image with a source. And basically that's it. Of course, you can also set its frame, a resizing mode, and also you can get its state. For example, for the placeholder, when we don't have a state, then or the state is not image or an error, then you just add a color blue, for example. There's also animations for the image loading, and it also has a process source priority pipeline on the which I do really like. It's coming from NUKE UI, NUKE, the library, and then on start, on progress, on success, on failure, on completion, which is really handy to know whether what the loading of our images are. And it also works with UIKit, so yeah, it's really great. Now let's go on our fourth basic. Our fourth is biometric authentication. So whether you want to have Face ID or Touch ID in your application, this is basically the simplest way of adding it. Go ahead and check out the documentation, but it's really straightforward. You just set up a biometric authenticator, and yeah, basically that's it. Everything else is taken care under the hood. Again, it's biometric authentication, and you can check out the link in the description for the resources where you will have all the links for these really great GitHub repositories. Okay, next up is EasyStash. So EasyStash is kind of, you know, it's like a persistence, but it's not a core data. It's not iCloud. It's not user defaults, it's not keychain, but it's on the file system. So whenever you want to save easily some data on the file system, you can do so with EasyStash. So you can see it's just simple as creating a storage right over here, maybe add some folder with the options, and then just storage, save an image, a user, and it works with codables. It also works with arrays and data. It's really great. Also, there are these helpy folder informations functions like does it exist? We can remove all. We can list out the files, folder size, and is the storage empty? Of course, it's working asynchronously also, so it's really powerful. Go ahead and check out for persistence, which is basically not core data, not user defaults, not keychain, nor the server side storage. It's EasyStash. That's what I recommend. Now, next up is a better codable. Now, when you are creating your models, you most probably get into problems when you are trying to update your models from one version to the other, and that's when you want to add this better codable strategy. There are property wrappers, for example, lossy array or lossy dictionary, default false. Let's just take a look at the default false, for example. So we have here our default false is admin. And the cool part here is that if this codable object, so the model doesn't get back an isAdmin, or is the isAdmin is some sort of an other type, or it's missing, then it will default to false. So you don't get crashes, or you don't get any issues moving your data into this codable. And there's default empty array and a lot of stuff. Also, you can use default codable, so you can create your own better codable properties. Hello, Kenner, hello there. Do you have any questions? Go ahead and feel free to ask them. Okay. Next up is FIRA code. Now, FIRA code is actually a font, and what this does is, we have a subscriber, really great. So FIRA code is actually a font for, and I believe, yes, Kenner. Oh, welcome. You just subscribed, Kenner. Great. If you have questions, again, go ahead and write them in the chat. So back to FIRA code. FIRA code is a font that I really love, and I have it installed on my Xcode together with some theme. Now, I do have a YouTube video on this. Just search for FIRA code on my channel and you will find it out. Also, you can just take a look at how to download and install it onto your own device. So FIRA code, I really like it. For example, these arrows, they're really cool and much more readable for my eyes. Okay, next up is Swift date. Now, handling date in Swift, like putting it inside text and all of that, or just comparing dates and all of that stuff is really great. Now, Swift date has been here for a while. As you can see, it has 6.9K stars, so really good job there. I use Swift date for every date related stuff in my project. So yeah, there's not much to tell about here, just handling dates easily. For example, let me just go, so to date, we just convert this to date. We can just get how many days there are. There's a lot to unpack in Swift date. Go ahead and check it out. Okay, and finally, well, not finally, because the last one will just actually blow your mind, and I do have an Xcode project, a demo Xcode project prepared for that. But before we do that, let's talk about device. Now, if you do want to check out what device your app is running on, I highly recommend you use device. It's really straightforward to use. These are the cases, and just go ahead and switch through the device types, or is iPad, you just ask for it inside. So it's a Boolean print, it's an iPad. There's also Mac version, screen sizes, and there are also some helpers for the sizes. And yeah, it's really great for handling device related logic inside your app. Now, finally, the moment that we've all been waiting for, just blow your mind, it's inject. Now, okay, so we do have, and I would just open up Xcode here, simulator and Xcode. So of course, we do have our canvas, but as you know me, I don't really like the canvas. It's kind of lazy and it doesn't really work all the time and all of that misery. So I usually, well, mostly use the simulator, but to build and run, it takes a little bit of time, and as my project grows, it will take even a lot more. Or I'm testing something that even after the project has been loaded into the simulator, it will take a little bit of a while to navigate there, for example. So what if we could just hot reload our project inside the simulator? So yeah, pay attention, this is really great. So I have already set this up, and by the way, if you're interested how to set this up, just go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring, when I can just guide you through all of this step by step. And by the way, you can take a look at also the documentation from Inject, but this I can just, it's a little bit of hacking here and there, so that's why I would just recommend mentoring. Okay. Really, thank you so much. Kenner says your content's helping so much junior devs as like me. Yeah, we're very, very welcome. And by the way, go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, you already did, but hit the notification bell, because sooner or later I will have a big announcement on the channel about an iOS developer community, and most probably you will be interested as you are a junior developer. Okay. So coming back to Inject right over here, I have already set this up. Now let's take a look at what this does. Okay, so for example, it's basically, here is what the app is all about. I'm just presenting a sheet right over here with some really nice profile setup. So what if I want to say show profile right over here, and all I do is just go ahead and switch right over here. So now it has been changed to show profile instead of show sheet. So let me just go show sheet, and just coming back here, it says show sheet. How awesome is that? And of course, I do know the shortcut key for switching between these applications. It's Command Tab. So let's say I'm in Xcode and I just go show profile, and I just go Command Tab, and I just switch to the actual simulator, and it's just going to update it automatically. It's really, really powerful. Now, if you're wondering what this really nicely looking prototype is for the image, the title, the name of our profile, and this nice lorem ipsum text, go ahead and check out lorem. I do have a video right over here at the top. It's called lorem ipsum and lorem pixum, where you can add lorem ipsum and really cool placeholder images into your Xcode projects.